Hello, people. Right back at y'all today. I'm gonna continue talking about the Nashville Sit-Ins, but this time focus on three articles. I know last weekend talked about the Nashville Sit-Ins, focus on dissertations, but I know this week is more about articles. The first article that I will be talking about is the Dawn of the New Day, the Nashville Sit-Ins by Linda T. Wine. That article Wine mostly focused on talking about, of course, the Nashville cities or the general events that occurred during that time, but also our main focus too is to talk about, give kind of the background, the causes of the Nashville sit-ins, like the reason for it, going back to 1896, the Jim Crow segregation, that where the President versus Ferguson case, where it made a separate but equal in public accommodations. Basically, the Nashville cities, of course, were and a lot of public accommodation was segregated between black and whites was based on Jim Crow segregation that been going on in the late 19th century. The second article called Leaders in the Quota Community, Z. Alexandra Luby, Ava Williams, and The Legal Fight for Legal Rights in Tennessee, 1940 to 1970 by William Stearns, focuses on basically talking about the lawyers that was involved in the sentence. Z. Alexander Luby was a major legal figure in Tennessee who was involved in a lot of cases, including the Nashville sentence and the Colombian race riots. And that article focused on his involvement in the Nashville sit-ins, where they were talking about how he was legally backing up the students during the sit-in movement. Of course, for his involvement in the Nashville sit-ins, his house would get blow up and few windows from a Harry. Fortunately for him, his family wasn't killed, but for his involvement, his house got exploded. So that article basically focused on more about his involvement in the Nashville cities. Then the third article I have right here, The Publisher, the Preacher, the Civil Racial Conflict at Vanderbilt University by Dave E. Silver, focused on James Lawson during his time at Vanderbilt. During the time, James Lawson, of course, was a major leader and figure of the Nashville city. He's the one that trained him, and Kelly Miller Smith is the one that trained the students in preparation for the sit-ins. By having the nonviolent workshops at churches, being part of the Nashville Christian leadership. And James Lawson, during this time when he was at Vanderbilt, he was a graduate student there, got in trouble with the people there because his involvement in the sit-ins, where he was expelled from the university in March 1960. So this article focuses on what led up for him getting expelled during his time at Vanderbilt, was involved in the sit-ins. So all these articles, despite have different perspectives about the sit-ins, all have connections because they talk about the major people that was involved, like Z. Alexander Luby, people like James Lawson. Basically, Nashville sit-ins, was made up, like I said last time, with people that be working on the civil rights movement, like I'm talking about Diane Nash, James Bevel, John Lewis, you already know, etc. But James Lawson, G. Alexander Luby were two predominant figures in the Nashville sit-ins. Z. Alexander Luby was really a prolific lawyer who was involved in many high-profile cases in Tennessee, in Nashville. And to me, I was like I don't like to really compare, but he's to me like the Thurgood Marshall of Nashville, basically. And in fact, he worked with Thurgood Marshall one time during the Colombian race riot that happened back in 1946, where was riots between black and whites in the city of Columbia, Tennessee, where he was legally backing 25 blacks that was involved in shooting white police officers. And with the help of Thurgood Marshall, unfortunately, he was able to help some of the blacks in that case not found guilty. But that's another story right there. In fact, I wrote an article about that on blackpast.org. But he was one of the main lawyers involved in the Nashville sit-ins, and like I said, his house got exploded, and fortunately, nobody got injured. Well, people got injured, but nobody hurt. James Lawson, was very influential. He's the one I would make the argument that basically pioneered the nonviolent tactics, because a lot of other sit-ins that was current, like Greensboro and other sit-ins, a lot of people wasn't really holding nonviolent workshops and preparing students in what they're going to encounter at the lunches by pro-segregation whites. But James Lawson, he's the one that decided to hold workshops so he can get the students prepared in time for what they're gonna counter, from violent attacks from segregation of whites. So this is one of the reasons why I made an argument like last weekend why the Nashville Sit-Ins was one of the best organized or the most organized of the cities in the South because the students were well prepared ahead of time and getting ready for the sit-ins compared to other places where they wasn't prepared. And also too though, like I said, before Greensboro happened, February 1st, 1960, the Nashville they was holding nonviolent workshops, sit-ins at lunch counters. A lot of prior to back in November, December 1959, a few months before Greensboro, Greensboro happened first. So James Lawson, can be making an argument like I did my thesis that he's the one that pioneered the nonviolent workshop. But basically, these 3 articles just continue talking about the Nashville Sit-Ins and the major people involved, and that's really what I have to say about the Nashville Sit-Ins today. I hope you enjoy this video and y'all have a good day. Bye.